Well, he's 38 from Reserve Mines, Nova Scotia, and several months ago, he's living on the streets of Toronto. A simple act of kindness on his part has changed his life. Danny MacKillop joins Canada Now. Danny, first off, how's your health right now? You doing okay?
Yes, I'm doing excellent, actually, yes.
Good. That's great to hear, Danny. Because you were in a terrible way. At one point, addicted to heroin and other drugs while living on the Toronto streets. It sounds like you had really hit rock bottom.
Yes, I was beaten and broken for sure, just prepared to go on to the bitter end.
Yeah. So back in November, you found money left behind at an ATM by a Toronto Police Special Constable, Jay Kirkwood. And you, at the time, you didn't think twice about giving it back and not keeping it.
Not one bit of hesitation. It just came naturally. I seen it there, and I knew who was just at the machine, so therefore I grabbed it and ran right to him, And I just wanted to make sure it was his before I handed it back,
Yeah. So I mean, like, were you stationed right next to an ATM? Like, how did you notice it?
Well, there was a store there in the corner that sometimes they know that I'm the regular homeless guy from the area, and he'd let me have coffee, and sometimes I'd sweep and mop his floors or help him put away things, and he would give me money.
Oh, okay.
Just happened to be I was there at that time.
And so you saw this money was left behind, and you knew for sure it belonged to this Toronto police officer.
Yes, he was just there. We had a word or two, and he had left and went on his way.
So you went and you grabbed the money out of the machine, and you ran over to him?
I went out the store, looked and seen which way he went, and I seen he was going back to where he works, and so I ran up behind him, hollering his name.
And like, what was his reaction? Like what did he do?
Well, the first thing I said to him was, "Hey Jay, how much money did you take out?" And he was like, "Well, what business is it of yours, bud?" And so I continued on persisting to him, and I said, "Well, please check." And he said, "Why? Did you find money?" I said, "Well, maybe." I said, "Just check and see how much you have." He was like, "I'm missing $40, and I pulled it out, and I said, "Here you go." And then he gave me a couple of dollars, and away I went.
So he's a regular. Like you knew his name, you knew of him before this all happened.
Oh, definitely, yeah. We've had many run-ins.
Run-ins like in a good way or a bad way?
Well, no, I used to be homeless, sleeping in the stairwells, sleeping down in the carports, and these guys were looking after the TCHC buildings, and they would come and they find me, and they found me numerous times,
Mm. So they kicked you out then?
They'd wake me up and kick me out, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, he wouldn't exactly consider you to be a friend necessarily, but more someone that he would have to see at work.
Well, yes, exactly. And actually even some of his coworkers as well, they were, asking me, like, saying to me, "Danny, you're not a bad guy. Like, what are you doing down here and stuff, And I just, like, hooked on drugs. I couldn't get off. I couldn't get out. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to say. Sorry to interrupt. I was just going to say. I think it's rather remarkable that, and maybe it's common. I don't know, but I find it rather remarkable that you established some kind of relationship with those that you would that would be in this case kicking you out of stairwells or kicking you out of places but establishing this kind of a relationship with them.
Well, I mean, it just goes to show you that some officers that are out there actually do have a heart and they do care,
Yeah.
It just goes to show you.
So they took the time to tell you, "Hey, Danny, you're better than this."
Yeah, like several times, and some have even tried to, try to find housing for me or whatnot, and to no avail. They were more or less like, "You got to do it on your own," sort of thing, or whatever. I couldn't do anything on my own. The only thing I could do was go and use again.
Yeah. So you resisted their help then?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I didn't resist the help. No, I couldn't do it. I know in my head I needed help, but I couldn't do anything about it.
Well, and this changed. There was a turnaround that we're getting to here because Constable Kirkwood posted the story on Facebook, tagged you, and your mother somehow saw it. She hadn't seen you in 8 years.
Well, yeah, people had come up and told me that Mr. Kirkwood had written something nice about me on the internet, and so I went and I searched for it, and I read it, and I said, "You know what? It's time to stop the lies, and it's time to tell people really what's going on with my life, Just kind of like a last resort thing, because I was trying for 10 years to get clean, and I just could not do it.
So was it his, his act of kindness by taking to social media and telling this nice story about you, was that the turnaround for you? Was that what really hit home?
Well, there's several remarkable things that have been happening, but what really hit home was that finally when he tagged me and my friends and family seen, guy living in the stairwells,
Yeah.
beaten and broken.
Yeah.
They were like, we got to help this guy, I guess. And then several other people from my area, Daniel MacKillop, they reached out and told my mother, if you can get him here, we can help him. And
Oh,
they got
wow.
me on a bus. Yeah, so my mother came looking for me, and she had found me in a spot that she should never have found me at. I found her, actually, and as soon as I immediately seen her, I just went with her, and they got me on a bus to Calgary.
Yeah, I mean, she came to Toronto. She searched everywhere, the
Yes.
streets, soup kitchens, hostels, and then she found you on Yonge Street. Like when you say in a place where she shouldn't have found me, it was like this is a place like were you at a place that no one would really know you were at? Like you were. This maybe wasn't a regular place that you would have gone to. Like why was it a place that where she couldn't have? You would think she wouldn't have been able to find you.
That's correct. Like she was giving up for the night. She was going back with her sister, and she was definitely in a spot that I would never be. No one would ever tell her to find me there.
Yeah.
Or to come look for me. So she was obviously going somewhere else on her way home, leaving, and for us to cross paths like that, it's mind baffling. I don't understand it.
Well, it's fate. I mean, with a bit of effort on her part, that's for sure, but a bit of fate and luck mixed in. So you saw her first. Like, what did you say? Did you call out to her?
Yes, I walked by and they weren't looking at me, and I walked by and I spotted her. I was like, Mom, it's my mom. I know you. You're my mom.
Yeah.
And that's what I said.
And then what? Did you guys hug? Like what happened?
Yes, we hugged, we embraced, and then I hugged her sister, my aunt, and I don't think there was even any more words said. Like we cried, and they didn't say come with me or anything. I just followed them. I was going with them wherever they were going.
Yeah. And you knew everything would be okay when you saw her.
Yes, definitely. I came from my father was an alcoholic, and there were several times when I was a child that he would wake up and smash the house up or whatnot, and my mom would crawl in bed with me and curl up and hold me,
Oh, wow.
while this was going on. So.
Wow. So you guys have a special bond then?
Yes, that's my mom. She's my safety.
Yeah, she's your safety. Do you think that? Let's go back. If I may ask, Danny, like, what brought this on? Like why did you start using? What happened?
You know what? At a young age, I always looked up to the older people and stuff, and I was a very good baseball player. It seemed like everything I put my mind to, I'd done well at, and so growing up, older guys were getting high and using drugs, and I started from there, and
Yeah.
I was just using and playing baseball, and I just thought maybe I'd grow out of it, and then it progressed to harder drugs. Everything else started to slip and slide, bad in school, start losing jobs, and next thing you know, I'm hooked and I can't stop.
Yeah. And was it because of that usage that created this divide between yourself and your mother?
Pardon me?
Was it your using that got in the way of your relationship with you and your mother?
Yes, definitely. Like, the more and more she kept telling me, Danny, you need help, and I wasn't having any of it. Like, I thought she needed help for thinking I needed help,
Yeah.
I wasn't having any of that. Like, I didn't help. I didn't even try to quit. I thought I could anytime I wanted, but then it wasn't until later that I realized I couldn't.
It's
And
I was gonna say it's amazing to me as well that it's like you turn into a kid all over again, and it happens to me, Danny, as well, where you're with your mom and you do feel this safety. It doesn't matter how old you get. I'm 40. You're 38. We're about the same age. It doesn't matter how old you get. You see your mom, and you can be a kid all over again.
Definitely, yeah. Like, my mom and I were close. We always talked, and the more I talked to her, I realized that I do have a cool mom. I love her very much.
Are you talking to her every day now?
Yes, pretty much every other day, yes.
Yeah. So a friend then buys you a bus ticket that goes as far as Calgary. I want to know more about what that trip was like, because I can't imagine all of a sudden you stop using. You're on a bus, so I mean you're stuck on a bus. I would imagine you don't have much space. You must be going out of your mind.
Yeah, well, at first it was okay, but then I managed to get onto the back of the bus where there's 3 seats, and so I sprawled out on the back of there, and yeah, and it was awful. It was hell.
Yeah.
I just tried to sleep at all, but then after 3 days of sleeping, you can't sleep anymore, and it was just awful. I don't want to ever experience that again.
Yeah, but you got through it, and then you get to Calgary, and another friend then meets you and drives you to rehab in Vancouver. And you kind of mentioned this earlier on, Danny. It's amazing how a team all of a sudden just assembles with a couple of friends and your mom and your aunt, and it clearly is not lost on you that you have so many people that care for you.
Unbelievable. And Wayne Binder was a childhood friend growing up and whatnot, and I literally had no clothes or anything. Like, everything I'm wearing today, Wayne Binder went and bought for me. Like, he went above and beyond for me.
Yeah. So you go all the way out west. Was that because of your sponsor?
Yes, definitely. He's the one that told me that if you can get me here, he can help.
Right. That's the friend. So, and that friend is also from Cape Breton, now operations manager for the Together We Can Treatment Center in Vancouver.
That's correct, Danny MacKillop, and he's sitting right here beside me.
Oh, is he?
I dragged him into work. He's sick today. He wouldn't have come, but I told him he had to be here.
Oh, good, because you're going to be on the radio.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's great.
And not only that, for support for me, I feel more comfortable with him around me.
Yeah.
To guide me,
I appreciate both of you guys making so much effort. And he's also from Cape Breton, and that must have meant something to you to have a friend to help you on this journey.
Yeah, it definitely does help. We're from Glace Bay. He's from Glace Bay. We knew of each other growing up or whatnot. But yeah, it definitely makes it so much easier for myself, yes.
You've been there for about a month?
Yesterday was my 30 days. I got a 30-day chip last night. Today I'm 31 days clean.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So it's going well, and you're feeling good. Yes,
I'm feeling very good. I'm missing quite a few teeth in my mouth and everything, but I can actually look in the mirror and smile and see that defect and still feel good about myself. It's truly amazing.
Do you recognize that the one act of kindness in returning the lost money to its rightful owner led to all of this?
It definitely is. Like, it's just so many chain of events that it's just unbelievable. Like, truly remarkable. Like, well, I can't put into words.
Well, it's this act of kindness, but Danny, at your very root, it's an act of kindness that explains who you truly are.
Yes, I agree, and also I believe that there's something higher than myself out there as well that's helping me and guiding me through this as well.
Yeah. Well, I think that might be true too. Danny MacKillop, you're a great story. Thanks for sharing it. Keep up the great work. Thank your sponsor and friend as well for coming in today, even though he's sick, and helping you talk to us. And hey, if you want to check in with us another time, we want to know how you're doing. We want to make sure you're okay.
Will do.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. There's Danny MacKillop, a tremendously strong human being that's on the road back to recovery and being the real person that he is. What a wonderful story.